something that's very key in this presentation. And a lot of people like are wondering, like, is there even something different than just like you go through KP, you apply through KP and you get the offer? There actually is a different path. So the standard KP is you essentially do the KP application. By the way, it's open. It's open if I don't know if Jenna mentioned or not, but it's open. And if you want, like, we can get to know each other after this, and I can actually give you a referral too, you know, based off of like your product experience and just things like that. But if you have a referral, there's a higher chance of obviously getting the KP round right here. But after you apply, if you get past that, then you get the KP round. The KP round is just one round by Kleiner Perkins that for the product fellowship is a product sense round. Product sense, meaning that couple behavioral questions, and then the questions that they asked me, to be honest, was what's your favorite product? And then like she asked me like, what would you improve about the product? That's still pretty behavioral, right? And then the next question is like, they give you a product. This is a product. Now, how would you take it to market like very efficiently and very effectively? So that was like more of the product sense questions, and there was like I think one more, but it was pretty similar to that. And as long as you walk them through your thought process, you'll be fine. So that's that round. Second round is the company round one. You pass the KP round, they're like, okay, now you're in the host matching phase, which I think is 3 to 5 companies do you want to match with? And you see all the different, they give you all the options. And for product, it's fewer than engineering because of course, like engineering, you don't have to have like a later stage company or even like that large of a company to have like, you know, software engineering interns or software engineers. Whereas for PMs, we all know that you have to be a little bit later stage to have like a bunch of PMs like being hired, especially as fellows. So basically there's fewer companies, portfolio companies that take PM fellows. So they give you that list and they say, pick, I think it's either 3 or 5 that you want to match with. You pick 3 or 5 and your application, I think probably with your KP round one feedback too, is basically sent to them. If they like your application / profile, they reach back out to you and then you land this round one, which is like the step right here. So my friend, he actually, he showed interest in like, I think like a few, like 5 companies, and he ended up getting like round ones at like 3 of them. And out of the round ones at 3 of them, he went through the process. And basically the process is like, you just do like the round one over here, which is typically either a behavioral or usually just like a product management interview, which for a lot of like the KP companies is like product improvement, product design, market sizing, right? They ask like some types of those questions, but definitely with some behaviorals too. And then you go straight to the onsite. So my friend that got 3 interviews, he ended up getting the onsite for all 3 of them, but he ended up only getting 1 offer. So like this is just an example of you basically just go through like the company rounds as if it's like a normal interview process. And KP is just the first thing that like you have to do before that. And then after you essentially pass the onsite, you get both offers at once. This is a key difference, right? You just suddenly get the offer at let's say like Uber, and then you also get like the KP fellowship offer, which the fellowship, by the way, is like a layer on top. And I just want to mention that the fellowship in itself is not it's not a job. You're not considered to be employed at KP. You're essentially just like a fellow there. So it's like a layer on top of the job and you get both offers at once. Now let's talk about the offer first path. And I'll also mention like which companies I think it's easier to go like for which path. So the offer first path is what I did. I was interviewing with Ripcord because I just really liked the company. I really liked how they were funded by Google Ventures and Kleiner Perkins and Steve Wozniak and a couple others. I was like, this is a really cool lineup. I didn't know anything about the fellowship actually. So I was in the interview process with them. And then after I got the offer, as you can see here, then there's a KP round. After I got the offer, someone mentioned to me, by the way, you should just like apply to KP. Like, I think you might be able to get the fellowship through that. I was like, oh, no way. I applied. And then I also got like a referral from someone. I think that's probably like how I immediately got the first round. And then when you're in the KP round, you actually want to tell them before the round, by the way, I already have a portfolio offer, like at Ripcord in my case. And then from what I've seen, if you have a portfolio offer, that significantly improves the chance of you getting the fellowship. So, and in fact, I think it was 1 year, I think it might have been last year. I think it was all design interns. I might be wrong, but all design interns at Airbnb that applied to KP guaranteed got the offer, even if they did horribly in the KP round. So this shows you that really significantly increases your chances. And the KP round after the company offer, and this is like my experience right here, it's a product sense round, but it might be just more behavioral because it's more casual. You already have a portfolio offer and essentially just making sure that you're solid. And the KP offer just comes right after that, where you get one offer instead of both at the same time, because you already have your company offer. You can just work there whether you're KP or not. But the KP is, the probability is increased when you go through the offer first path right here. So that's something that I just wanted to mention. And any questions? I'll just pause right here before I go to the next part. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask it like here instead of the chat. Okay, cool. We can move on.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I saw in the, I'm trying to pull it up. I forget. I lost the sheet, but I had like something about like if you decide to um, start your own company after 1 year, there's investment potential from Kleiner Perkins. Is that correct?
So are you asking about like the seed funding from Kleiner Perkins?
Yeah, well, not necessarily the specifics around that, but just like how if you're sourcing a job offer from one of their companies, like is there an expectation by these companies that if you're a fellow, you'll be there for 1 year, or do fellows stay on for more than a year? You know, just how's that dynamic play out?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, from what I've seen, yes, you kind of have to be there for like a year, and then after a year, you can do whatever you want. Um, Whether that's like in the fellowship contract or not, I would say that it doesn't matter. It's just not a good look to just like leave when everyone's supposed to technically be there, like, you know, at least tacitly for like a year. So no one leaves like within a year. Although like the interns, software engineering and design, it's not relevant to like, you know, us all, but they can just like potentially not get a return offer from their Stripe internship or Robinhood internship, but they're still a KP fellow for life, right? So then they could just join another company and just like start a company and get that 100K, right? But for product fellows, like everyone stays there for like 1 year minimum. I don't know what would happen if you just like suddenly dip out. But one thing I wanted to mention actually is for product fellows, there are a few cases where there was actually, this is in my batch, she was a fellow that had an offer at this KP portfolio company, and then because of COVID, that company rescinded, and then so she ended up getting like an offer at Apple for PM, and then or either Apple or YouTube, one of them, and basically she was just ready to go there, and then the other company said, actually we have like an increased headcount, our revenue is up, and like we're down to have like you as an APM again at the KP portfolio company. And then she was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I just prefer to go with this. It's like more safe in like a COVID kind of situation where everything's unpredictable. She's still a KP fellow and she can still like, you know, get that seed funding from Kleiner Perkins. So that's like a one edge case right there where you're technically not like a PM, KP PM, but you're still in the fellowship and you still have access to the funding. So there's that. And then there's like this other interesting case, which may be actually applicable to many of you, which is a fellow in my batch. She interned at this KP company where she did that internship during the school year. I think it was during like the semester system. So it was like about 4 months. And then when it came time to getting a full-time job, she actually just like got a different job somewhere else. So she's like technically still a KP fellow, and she doesn't have to like wait 1 year because she's not at the KP company anymore. She's like at a different place, but she still got that KP experience in. So I don't know if like co-ops are common with the GSB, but that could also be a possibility too. So those are a couple of edge cases. Thank you for asking that question.